This is an explanation of activity system theory. It can help to make activity system clear to draw a picture of how these terms relate to one another: activity system, communication situation, genre, and text. And so let's begin with a text. And let's begin with the English 101.08 syllabus that you should have read as part of preparing for class for this Thursday. And so this syllabus is an example of a text. It's a collection of written pages in a Word document, just like something you've seen 100 times before. This text, though, is participating in a genre. And a genre is just a way to organize and say that a whole bunch of texts that look similar and do similar things, we can call them by one name. And in this case, they're called syllabi. Syllabi are just usually collections of rules and explanations of how a class will work that are distributed at the start of a class, especially usually in college. And so the syllabi genre is used within a very specific communication situation that we can talk about. And it's a way to standardize communication. And that communication situation is between teacher and students. And so we have syllabi, which is the genre. We have the communication situation, teacher and students. And that communication situation occurs only within the context of an activity system, in this case, the school activity or the university activity system. And so we move from a very specific text, a single example that you can hold in your hands, and how it participates in, we could talk about how it participates in the genre of the syllabus and how it's like and different from other examples of a syllabus. We can talk about how it helps the communication between, how it helps or hurts even, the communication between the teacher and the students in that particular communication system, because it's an example of a genre used to communicate between those two groups of people. And then we can talk about how all of this participates within the entire university system, the university activity system. And so we move from a very specific example of a text into the genre it's participating in, the communication situation that genre is designed to work in, and finally the activity system that communication system occurs in, because once you start to understand that what activity system occurs in, you can start to understand why things work a certain way or why certain priorities are present in a syllabus. Let's take another example. We have quiz, the syllabus quiz that you took today. That's an example of a text. And the syllabus quiz, that text, is working in the genre of the quiz that you know so well from having 12 or more years of schooling already. Again, that genre, the quiz, occurs in the communication situation between teachers and students. And if we step back a little bit farther out, we know that that is the activity system of the university or school. And so we've moved from the very specific syllabus quiz out into the fact that it's a member of the quiz genre, and that genre works between teachers and students within the university or school activity system. We could take a different kind of example. So we could start with the movie that recently came out, Hugo. And that movie, that's the text of one sort. It's a text. It's a visual text, but it's still a text. Then we could say, well, Hugo's participating in the animated movie genre. Which is in itself a genre that happens between a communication between producers, studios, directors, actors, and an audience, and a viewer, really. And all of that communication situation is occurring within what we could call the entertainment activity system. And so we move from the movie Hugo to the fact that it's an animated movie and it's in the genre with other animated movies like A Bug's Life or WALL-E or Beauty and the Beast, if you want to go that far, because actually those are two different kinds, maybe two different genres of animated movie. One is older 2D and the other one's 3D computer animated. Then this communication situation between all the people that make the movie and the viewer who sees the movie. And then finally that's happening within entertainment, which is a wide, very big activity system with a lot of different genres and communication situations going on. We could go on to a different example. We could talk about your W-2 tax form for your part-time job. That's the text we're talking about. And that text is in the genre of tax forms. Or really, maybe we could even say the genre of government, federal government tax forms. Because other forms of government, local government, state government, have different tax forms, and so really it's federal government tax forms. And that genre is communication between a communication situation between the federal government and the citizen, discussing the taxes that they're going to pay. And all of this is taking place within the activity system of the government, because this genre is designed to help communication occur between the citizen and the federal government. And so what we should see is that you can think of all of these things as a set of hierarchical relationships. As we get further out, we get to bigger and bigger sets of ideas. And so we begin with a text, an individual example of something, maybe it's video, audio, textual, and that text, whatever it may be, is part of a genre of other similar texts that are like it. And so they may not all be exactly the same, but they have a lot of the same features in common, because all of those genres are attempting to facilitate a particular communication situation, to make communication easier and more efficient. And the reason all those genres look similar and have similar features is because they're all acting within the same kind of communication situation. And within that communication situation is that communication situation occurs in a particular activity system. And activity systems are really, really big, broad ideas, because they're any group of human beings that work and communicate together for any period of time. And so you can have all kinds of activity systems and all kinds of communication situations inside those activity systems, and all kinds of genres that will work for specific communication situations. And finally, you can have texts that have particular features of genres, one genre or another genre, mashing different genres together, or they may look exactly like only one genre. And so all of this is kind of fluid set of relationships, but we can talk about now a little bit better, what is this text? What's the context surrounding this text? What genre is it participating in? Why does that genre exist? And who is communicating with who? And why do they need that genre? Why does it make their life easier to have it? And why do they continue to use it? And then what activity system is this happening in, and what can we learn about what's happening in all these other steps from knowing it's in this activity system. And so that's the reason we're going to talk about composition as an act that always occurs within a genre, within a communication system, within an activity system. And so every text you produce has all of this deep context around it, and all of this complexity. Even the simplest thing, even the postcard that you write home, or even the email that you send home, is involved in a particular kind of genre, which is designed to work in a particular kind of communication situation, which is occurring within a particular activity system. And so this is a way to deepen our understanding of what actually happens when we write and read text.